You're listening to Lasting Recovery. Once again, here's your host, Dr. Judy Saalinger.
Thank you. Hi, this is Dr. Judy Saalinger with Lasting Recovery. And Lasting Recovery is an intensive outpatient treatment program here in San Diego. We're a nationally accredited, individualized treatment program for substance use disorders, the anxiety, depression, and other co-occurring issues associated with substance use. And we offer hope and help and help you to believe, as we do, that you can find freedom from alcohol and drugs. And I know that personally, I have found freedom from alcohol and drugs nearly 30 years ago, and have been working in the field nearly all that time, trying to help other families with their spouses, with their children, with themselves, to recover from this addiction. Now, one thing is stopping the substance use, and the other one is all of the repair process that has to occur once a family member has gotten into recovery. And today we're talking about the stages of family recovery, and the first stage that we've covered here is in the first 20 minutes here of our program has been identifying the problem and how we get stuck into it. You know, one of the things that you'll hear, maybe have heard about, is called enabling. And when the addiction is going on and people are actively trying to control another person's substance use, what happens is that we beg and plead, and families fight and argue. They say, please don't drink so much. Please don't use that drug. You know, I found bottles in your closet. I found, traces of marijuana or traces of cocaine. Please don't do that. And the person keeps doing it. And then the family members feel frustrated and hurt and angry. They nag and scream. They lecture, making threats. And then pretty soon, you know, they're going into their savings account and paying the person's bills, buying them food, clothing, because the person is so incapacitated that they can't take care of themselves, help pay living expenses. And with kids, they might ground them, take their car away, take their cell phone, you know, threaten users and dealers, bail people out of legal problems. I know I hear many families that have called me and said, you know, my kids in jail got picked up because they were with some other kids and they had heroin on them, or they had OxyContin, or they had an ounce or two of marijuana. And I know it's a good kid, and I want to go bail him out. And somebody said I should call you before I did that. What do you think? Well, I think that you should leave him there for a while. And that's part of, again, what we call sort of a tough love approach. It's also an approach of let the person begin realizing the consequences of their behavior. You know, for many years, I've been a parent and a therapist, and so I've always been sort of caught in between of, you know, do I practice and what I'm preaching? And what I preach is that parents need to be able to let the kids learn from their mistakes. And I've done the best that I could, as all of you parents have, to try to let my kids learn from the consequences of what it is that they do. And, you know, without trying to bail them out, without trying to make excuses for them, and try to cover up or lie for them. And so it's really important, I think, that in order to learn the consequences of any action, that a person be held responsible and accountable for it. You know, when we look at this as we go on in here looking at the recovery process, when somebody has been held accountable for their actions, for example, staying in jail. I remember a woman who I worked with who's had a son who was about 19, and he'd gotten into some legal problems because he was stealing in order to deal with his drug habit. He was on the East Coast and she was here, and he got thrown in jail, and she had money to go bail him out, but she called me first, and I had her come in and we talked about it. And I told her to sit on her hands, you know, put your checkbook away and let him think about it. Let him think about the problems that substance use has caused him. So this was in around November, and his court date wasn't until February. So as tough as it was for this mother, she let her son sit in there through Thanksgiving, through Christmas, through New Year's, and around the early part of February, he had his court date. Well, during that period of time, what happened was that somebody came in to the jail cell who had brought a big book. He was and a big book is a book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And this kid that had to come into the jail cell had to do some time for some problem that he was clearing up, but he had gotten into a 12-step program, and that was very helpful for him. And he shared this experience with this younger boy who was in jail as well. Well, the bottom line was that this kid then went into treatment, and he ended up doing quite well. Last time I heard from the mother, he had a couple of years recovery, and he was doing well. And she learned the lesson that in order for anybody to learn something, we've got to figure out how to get out of the box. And it's certainly being trapped in an addiction is a way about being locked in a box. And it feels like that. People want to die because it feels so bad. But the thing is that when we use the magic words of I want help, and I really learned to reach out and talk to other people about the problem rather than to try to get them to enable me, then I learned to grow some self-esteem. I learned to that I can take responsibility for my actions, and it's at that point that I can begin looking at how to get into the solution from recovery or into recovery from the problem. So some of the problems then that the family members have to deal with is that they, first of all, have to be able to sort of back off. So in other words, we have to learn to let go of trying to fix other people. We can't play therapist or shrink with our family members. My daughter used to say to me, "Mother, you're talking to me in that therapist voice. Please stop." Well, I don't even realize that I would be doing it, but I had to become aware of that. Sometimes the family members will say to their loved ones, if you really loved me, you'd stop doing drugs. You would stop doing alcohol. Sometimes people say, if you don't stop, I'm going to get sick and die. The thing is that, what family members have to do is they have to be able to let go and quit rescuing. So given that that's number one, you want to be able to look at what it is that you can do. You can realize that, first of all, you've been mentally exhausted. You may have depression and insomnia. You may have mood swings. You may have emotional outbursts because you've been caught in this disease too. I often say that a family member is like a caboose on a train, just sort of being pulled along by this force of the addiction. And so what we're talking about today is what you can do. So when you let go, that's a part of being able to say that the other person does have everything that they need inside of them in order to get into the solution. And what we're doing is not helping. And so I'm Dr. Judy Saalinger here with Lasting Recovery, and I'm with Lasting Recovery. We're an outpatient treatment program in Serena Valley, and we often treat clients and family members who've recently discharged from inpatient programs, or some that are living in sober or transitional homes, and others that are just coming to treatment for the first time. We will often answer calls from people like yourselves, perhaps, that have been trying to get another person to stop using substances, and we get you as family members, and we get the clients to come in and talk about that. And I can tell you that the family members have been distraught. They're anxious. I often say that family members have post-traumatic stress disorder because of the things that they have been through, the things that they've tried, and the things that they've seen with someone who has a substance abuse problem. And when people come into treatment, they get involved in our family program. And in the family program, we talk about this. We talk about the sorrow, the sadness, the helplessness that family members have trying to control this addiction. So we looked at, the fact that we've got to let go. We've got to be able to recognize that as a person gets into treatment, that first of all, the person who has the addiction problem, they need to learn how to deal with things on their own. So we don't need for family members to give advice to the person. You don't need to tell them how to do it. You don't need to tell them how to run their recovery program. As a family member, what we encourage you to do is to work on your own self. There's 12-step programs out there, Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, adult children of alcoholics, Alateen. There's lots of different resources. And one of the things that they'll all tell you is come back to yourself, eyes on self. Let go of trying to control that other person. There is help for the entire family. If you want to reach us at the office, you can reach us at 858-453-4315. At lastingrecovery.com, we have help for the entire family. And what we're covering today is the stages of the family recovery from addictions. And we're talking about developing some thinking skills so that you can think about what it is that you need as a family member. Feeling management skills. How are you going to manage your anger at that person for the things that they've caused the problems, the shame, the money that it's cost you, the fact that maybe they lost their job because of their substance use. How are you going to get over your anger to that person? Again, I'm Dr. Judy Saalinger here on Lasting Recovery, and we're talking about the stages of family recovery and the problems that family members face is the fact that they have to learn how to accept that life is not going to be like the fantasy that you wanted it to be. You know, when we look at what it is that you can do in order to change things, you're going to be able to do some repair process and renew some relationships with the person who has the substance abuse problem. But first of all, you want to come back and renew that relationship with yourself. Again, you have been focusing on them and sort of attached to them. I often will hear people come in and they'll start talking about what they think the other person is thinking or doing because they've gotten so attached to the addiction through that other person. And so you've gotten addicted to them and they were addicted to the substance. Now it's back to yourself. What do you need? What is it that would make your life complete, separate from them? What is it that you need for yourself? And just as we would be talking with the person who has a substance abuse problem, we're kind of asking them the same things because we're trying to get rid of the effects of the brain disease that has gone on with addiction. Again, my name is Dr. Judy Saalinger. I'm here with Lasting Recovery, and I'm a licensed marriage family therapist and an addiction specialist and director of Lasting Recovery, San Diego's premier holistic outpatient alcohol and drug treatment program. We're a nationally accredited individualized treatment program for substance use disorders located in San Diego. You can reach us at 858-453-4315.